day, lovely people. I'm Daniel Claremont. I'm the Acadian therapist, and I am coming at you from lovely Liverpool, Nova Scotia. I gather that there is a Liverpool elsewhere in the world, which is probably a little bit bigger, but this one has some wondrous things that I wanted to share. So I hope that you'll stay with me, and we're going to talk about the emotion of wonder and how we can use that feeling to improve the quality of our lives in a lot of unexpected ways. So I hope you'll stay with me. A common complaint that people come to counseling for is the feeling that they're just kind of plodding through life, that things have become stale or boring. Sometimes that's the case in physical intimacy. Sometimes it's a lack of romance in relationships. Often there's a lack of satisfaction in their work, or a feeling of lack of connection with things they used to enjoy. At an extreme level, this can become suicidality, and so obviously it's a severe form of distress for folks. And so another concern that people will come with is sometimes the feeling that they blinked and they're suddenly in their 30s or their 40s or 50s or 60s, and the alarming feeling that all this time has passed, and what do people have to show for it? So very understandable to have those kinds of concerns. And so what's the solution to it? Well, this brings me to the emotion of wonder. So usually when I think of wonder, I think of children and the wonder that they have at the world, at and when they discover new things. And that is so inspiring for us. And I think part of what is inspiring is we realize we've lost something, that curiosity. So if you think about the job of kids is to figure out how the world works. How do all these pieces fit together? How do relationships work? How do you get along with other people? How do you be happy? How do you find love? And so kids are curious about the world, and so that wonder and curiosity they have lines up with creating new connections in the mind and expanding their frame of reference. And so they grow, their world grows, they learn how to respond more adaptively to those situations. However, as we get older, we become much more efficient. We have seen things and done things more often, and so we can kind of slip into sort of an autopilot, just getting through the day. And so this is actually a very good thing in a way when you think about how many boring or routine things. You don't want to wash dishes as though the first time. You don't want to do your taxes as though for the first time. There's a lot of really boring tasks, even your regular commute. It's nice to sort of zone out and just get to your destination without having to think too much. And that's your brain that's basically saying, I got this. I know how to do this. I've done it a million times. I don't need to pay too much attention. However, the trade-off for that is the perception of time that blows by. Because essentially you're checked out during that time. And so this is where we can look back and say, where did my life go? Where did all these years go? So this is where the practice of mindfulness comes in, and this is usually where I lose people, because what does mindfulness really mean? Well, mindfulness is noticing something as though for the first time. You can do this with your breath. You can do this with everyday tasks. You can notice as though for the first time and bring some of that curiosity. And yes, that is grounding because you are making some slightly new connections, but it's also a little dull. And this is what brings me to this wondrous place. So the man who runs this garden center has slowly, over years, built sculptures out of cement, and he teaches other people how to do it. And essentially, the way that he describes it is he began by just noticing the geography of the area. So he took stock of what was here. He said, I wonder what I can do with this. And so this also applies to the productivity series, or tiny habits. One little bit at a time, he expanded the trails and he planted exotic plants in this area, and the sculptures grew somewhat organically, one bit at a time. Now, if he had tried to think about it all at first, it might have been overwhelming. It might have been really difficult to even get started, but instead he just did a little bit at a time, slowly developing his craft, slowly building a space that has become gorgeous and expansive and inspiring, frankly. And so this is what my suggestion would be for anybody else that's wanting to improve the quality of their life and bring some sense of wonder. Find a creative task. It doesn't matter how big or ambitious you want it to be. In fact, smaller is better. Take out a notepad and just start doodling, start drawing. Look up a YouTube video on how to draw or how to do animation, how to paint. Just find some task that would expand you creatively and just start doing stuff. Don't worry about making mistakes. In fact, you're going to be a pretty harsh self-critic. Most of us are, and that's okay. You're being a harsh critic because what you're producing now is not in line with what you want because you don't have the skills yet. So don't worry about feeling successful or perfect. Just start putting ink on a page, start putting cement on a frame, and have at it. Start working forward. Play. What you're doing is you're making new connections between brain cells. You're expanding your capacities. You're expanding your identity, your vision of who you could see yourself as. One bit at a time. Keep going, and you'll surprise yourself. What this will accomplish is, over time, you surprise yourself by what you're capable of. You start noticing different things in the world that you didn't notice before. Some things will maybe be worse. You might notice some less pleasant things. And okay, so when there's those moments that your mind is telling you a story of suffering, like how hard it is or how much you need to learn, that's okay. That's just a bit of a tantrum. That's just a reaction to new learning. So you can ground yourself. We've certainly talked a lot about grounding strategies. And then do a little something else, just a little bit more, right? And over time, you'll get over that hump and you'll get back on the road. However, you will also notice more beauty and more things that will bring that sense of wonder, like with children, that feeling of wonder at the world, at what things there are that you never even were aware of, like this gorgeous garden center here in Liverpool. And so that's pretty much all I had for you this week, friends. As always, if you see value in this content, please feel free to like, subscribe, share. That certainly helps to get the word out, and it helps to support my work here. Thank you so much. In the meantime, we'll see you again, and I wonder where we'll be next time. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.